February 24th, 2024. Welcome to the Technologist Forum, where we dig into consumer enterprise technology, have a discussion with some like-minded folks. Listen, we about to have a great discussion. If you got questions for me, the panel, or anything, you know how to do it. Put a Q in front and let's get into it, y'all. Let's go. Walter the Great is in the building, y'all.
What's going on?
WG2 is in the building. I'm gonna drink to that. It's coffee right now.
Yo, my honor to be here. I've been waiting every Saturday. I'm like, oh my god, oh man, it's popping up. Oh man, I gotta go visit this place. So yeah, no, I'm excited to be here, man.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. And listen, Florence Donald's in the building, and she got on me for. She asked me yesterday. She said, "Listen, where's the forum at?" And it was my negligence. Your boy been traveling. I've been living out of a suitcase lately. Out here doing the thing. So I said we have to get it back and going.
Mm-hmm.
And this man right here. Hold on, this man right here. Before we say, this man is coming all the way over from the other side of the pond right here. What time is it? Good Lord, have mercy. I think it's midnight this time. So you got to bring a good show up.
Oh man, I'll be ready. We cannot disappoint. I know it's probably dinner time. Man, yeah. I appreciate all y'all tuning in. It's cool. It's interesting, right? I feel like this first few months is like we think about like New Year's resolution months is the time where the gyms are packed, right? Like people are starting to fizzle out. And I think with content creators, sometimes we think like, okay, we're gonna just like go in. I know I thought that like start off this year going strong. I'm everywhere. You'll see me everywhere. And I started that way, then it dropped, but not because I stopped, but just because, oh wait, hold on. I need to tighten the gears a little here. I need to add in, need to do some welding real quick.
Okay.
So it's interesting. I'm trying to remind myself that to kind of be that creator you want to be. Sometimes you are out there, but you got to take some time to go tweak some things, fix some things, and then pop back out. We don't always have to be on, but we always have to be ready to adapt and pivot as needed. So
okay, see, we only been live for 4 minutes, and you coming with like that. Don't always have to be on, but you always have to be ready. Good Lord Almighty. Okay.
Gotta be ready.
So let's dive into that. We got our topics that we were going to get into, talk a little bit of news, but we can't just gloss over that right there. Talk to us a little bit more about that. Let's peel the onion back. Is that process? Is that applications and tools that you're using? Is it understanding when to go live and when to do your schedule? Because you do audio and video as well, right? Is it kind of kind of following the sun? Someone like an end at 6:30 p.m. his time and being cognizant of that. What made you come to that realization that I got to tighten those screws, as you say, and I got to be more aware of me and my community's needs.
Oh man, just on that last part, me and my community's needs, and just is the idea of people being in different time zones. Like I'm organizing this event that's happening on Tuesday. It's a Notion meet. I'm calling it a Notion happy hour for current, active, and aspiring users. And I was excited. I posted about it previously. I was like, hey, would people be interested in this? And people were. And I went ahead and scheduled it for 7 p.m. Eastern time. It's after this live show that I kind of secretly produce. And it's just, it's not too late, not too early. But then I realized like, oh, half the people who are interested, they're out in Europe. There's some other people in South Africa. So it's like, oh man, now I got to think like, okay, how can I create these environments where it's actually inclusive on an international standpoint? So it's like, okay, so maybe I do one in the evening Eastern time, but maybe I just get up early on a Friday morning so that I could get my international people over too. So yeah, it's all the above: the software, the when I'm active, when I'm not, and who I'm showing up for.
I love it. Hey, Florence, if you want, you got the keys to the front door. If you want to jump in, she saw that we talking process now, so she got to twitch it a little bit and may jump in. So let me ask you about that, man, because that's interesting as well. Because a lot of the folks within both of our communities are not just curators, but also business owners and looking to monetize, and not looking to, but are actually monetizing our efforts. Following the sun, doing one session in the AM, one session in the evening. Have you considered doing like a premium offering? maybe, and I don't like the word paywall, but something that is,
Mhm.
instead of the generalist, something that is probably more specific in terms of an offering, where you actually have people go into the Walter Gaynor community or environment where they actually are paying for the insights that you're giving. Has that, right, doing it once and then charging for it, but then maybe having it on a repeat kind of thing, as opposed to having to worry about having multiple sessions? I'm just throwing stuff out,
Mm.
just wanting to have some dialogue.
Yeah. Um, in full transparency, figuring it all out, and it's I think what's cool is like I know what the tools are. I
Hmm.
know what software I'm using for the events. I know how to charge for it. I know how to set the funnel up. And I think now it's really just wanting to kind of create that social proof first
Okay.
before I start charging, and
I
that's just
love
a
that.
preference thing. I don't think you have to do it one way or the other. And then also deciding like, do I even want to do this? Right? I don't want to like. I'm someone with a lot of different ideas, and like being human is knowing that you can't really do all of them all at once. So just throwing out, putting the shot up first, seeing how it goes, and then like, okay, I actually like this. I want this. People like it too. So this could become a product. So yes is the answer, but what I've challenging myself to do is to not focus as much on the monetization part, because that always just holds me up, and
Okay.
just get the content out there, and then just like money has a way of finding me when I'm not looking at it
Go
or
ahead,
looking
brother.
for it.
Go ahead.
So yeah, just gotta be just gotta trust the process. Process about to be the word of the day. Process, man. You gotta trust it.
I'm gonna change the title right now. And kudos to you and shouts out to you. Let me throw these flowers. The fact that you are not waiting, right, to get all of those social proof points in an alignment before actually going out there and doing the thing. Right?
Mm,
You're willing to go out there and maybe stumble. You're willing to go out there and have maybe a B plus type of a offering, but keep going until you get that A minus, that A plus, right? So
mhm.
I love that fact, because kind of it's similar to what I was talking about last night with Florence on her session. People getting out of their own way, right? And you are willing to do that, as opposed to just waiting until you get everything, all the nuance done, right?
Yeah,
You let OCD get in the way, and you feel like you have to have everything dialed in before you actually put something out, and then come to find out it's 10
yeah.
months later and you still haven't done anything. So shouts out on that, man.
Exactly. And also one other thing with that too, and it's kind of like, uh, I it's like there's like different types of bags you could get,
Mm,
and I'm looking at a different bag that's not a like making money off of people that are helping, but the softwares and stuff that I'm already talking about, and the bigger companies that need help implementing stuff on their own. They seeing what I'm doing and they liking it. That's really the kind of the bag that I would that I want to pick up and hold
mm.
a little
See,
bit more.
and
So
that's more. I talk about strategic versus tactical a lot too, right? So instead of that one hit, I'll come out do an event, or I'll do a promotion or a campaign with you one time, and you give me
mhm.
X number of dollars. Let weave me into your ecosystem, make me a partner with you,
Yes.
company, right? And
Yes.
let's talk about longevity. That's a good conversation again to have, especially with folks who are just now starting to get visibility in this content creation game, right?
Mm.
In this solopreneur, entrepreneur, and in this field as well. Don't just go after that quick hit. Don't just ask for the free gear and the free stuff, right? The free merch. That's a one hit, and everyone asks for that. And that really doesn't bring any long term value. How can I get equity? How can I become a partner? Come on now. We talk about ownership around here. We try to be Tyler Perry, but come on. All
That's
right.
right.
I'm gonna stop.
That's right. Yeah.
Um, listen, that's good stuff, man. So shouts out to you. Appreciate you on that. Let us know when you have like a link or something that people can come and check that out, because we definitely want to support that.
Yeah.
And our inner circle, when Mr. Worthy starts sending out 4 a.m. text messages, I'm sure you'll be I'm I'm sure you'll be
Man, I
part of
gotta
that as
start
well.
scheduling them. I gotta out flood his flood. But
No,
yeah, I got a link actually. I just need to send it out there. That's funny part too about the experimenting. Sometimes you forget about the promote it too. Don't just experiment, but get as many people as you want out there.
get that
So
marketing
yeah, I
out there,
got a
man.
link for y'all. Got a
Cool.
link.
Cool. Before, I will make sure that that's in the description when we shut this down. Uh, all right, I wanted to get into some stories, man, because there has been a couple of things that have happened in the technology world this past week that have impacted folks, and I just want to get some
Mm,
dialogue, especially with you on this. Starting with this situation right here, AT&T was down.
man.
AT&T was down. Come to find out, and there's still speculation, but just reading through some of the internal posts and all that, it may have been user related, user issue, or as opposed to something that was a cyber attack or something of that nature. As they were trying
Mm,
to update their environment for how cellular networks peer off to each other. So you're driving and you start leaving the AT&T area, you go into T-Mobile. Florence, I hear you in my ears right now. I see. I can't wear these glasses when I'm live streaming because I get all my notifications in my ears. Um,
oh, we got this. Okay, this is Tony
so
Stark, yo.
yeah.
We got the
So
black Tony Stark here.
listen, I am Iron Man, brother. I am Iron Man. The squirrel moment. But what had happened was during the system update of moving on AT&T for when you're roaming and when you're going from like an AT&T to a T-Mobile to a Verizon and whatever. So that software, that piece was being upgraded. Something was issued. Something was wrong with the code. Something was wrong. Someone fat fingered it or whatever. But from the consumer side, they don't care about that. Everybody was down. You on AT&T?
I'm not.
Glad
I'm
you're
on
not on.
Verizon.
You
Rule the
glad you're not on
airs,
AT&T?
yo. Yeah, Verizon, hit me up after you finish up with that Beyonce collab you got going on. But yeah, no, wasn't. And I was confused. I saw seeing tweets and posts and everything. And I was like, well, what's going on? I checked my phone and I was good. I will say yesterday, I was struggling to make phone calls and I was like, oh man, I was talking all this mess before. It's my time now. They come in, they got Verizon too. But yeah, it's very, very interesting. I think now anytime I have a problem, I'm just blaming it on AT&T. Like, oh my bad, the
Mm,
AT&T outage. Like it got me. I can't show up to work today. My bad, AT&T outage. But it's so interesting. Like I my first job out of college was at a software company, right? And that was the first time I realized just how much happens behind the scenes in software and tech. Every time there's a new update, everyone's kind of it's like pins and needles, making sure nothing blows up and that the users can just use it as they usually do without even knowing anything. And then when something small does happen and you might even know how to fix it, it's going to take a moment. Every single user, they just kind of they go in panic mode because all they know is like you said, it's not working. I cannot do with the things that I
yeah.
want to do or need to do. And it's like help, 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 help. So it's interesting that it was a server update thing because that's something that happens all the time. And human error, one wrong button and boom.
Listen, I'm in this field, right? From an enterprise technology perspective. And hold on, he can't just pop into the comments and not let me acknowledge this man right here. Reggie, I see you, brother. My my manager right here. So I
Hey,
better hold on. Let me sit up straight. Let me make sure I don't say anything incorrect about the day job because you
let me
know
tell you about.
you know we moonlighting on Saturday. So okay, so Reggie, what's going on with you? Appreciate your service. Was hanging out with you all week down in San Jose, but that's a good band, right? And again, so let's talk about contingencies around this issue with AT&T. Folks being down, you can't do business because we live on our phones right now, right? We live on our mobile devices. That is what it is. There are alternatives, right? In terms of when your cellular service go down, and if you're not on AT&T, you're on Verizon, you're on Sprint, you're on Sprint. Good Lord, ain't nobody on Sprint anymore.
Oh yeah,
Um,
got T-Mobile now, right?
but Wi-Fi calling, dude. That's the way to get. And again, we know this because we're in technology. And we know these kind of things. But let's talk to the consumers about how to mitigate and get around some of these issues. Turn on Wi-Fi calling on your device so you have access to
Hmm.
that. And then there are a couple of applications that I have used and that I continue to use when something like that happens, when there's an outage. So I use Telegram and WhatsApp on my phone. In those instances, in those situations when all things go down the tubes, have you had to experience something where you had to pull out the contingency plans when you can't
Oh
get
man,
in touch with folks?
I pulled out Snapchat before. This like it's just so interesting nowadays. There's so many different softwares out here that make it easier for you to communicate with other people. Like it's at this point now where it's like I really don't even need someone's phone number. If we're connected on
I
Instagram, I
don't know
can
your
just
phone number,
call and
man.
FaceTime through
I
there.
don't know your number. I'm sorry. I know I talk to you all the time. I don't know your number. What we gonna do about this, man?
Yeah. Shoot, don't even need it. Don't even need it. But yeah, Facebook Messenger and Instagram, use those a ton.
See, you mentioned Facebook. I hate Facebook Messenger because
Oh really?
me and Zuckerberg aren't. I'm not a fan of Zuckerberg, and I should probably. I've been saying that for a long time, but I still getting these little meta checks once in a while. But I I'm just not a fan of Facebook, even though I
I
know there's over a billion people and more than half of the planet is on it. It's just I understand what goes on behind the scenes just from an algorithm and how they position your timeline to you
mm,
based on what you continually click on and things of that nature. And I know all the social networks work like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just mad at Mark because he's so rich by
there's a lot to be mad about though.
okay.
Like you have an issue with your account. Even
You
I've
can't get
heard
in
like
touch with
the
anybody.
whole yeah, and the whole thing with the whole pay for verification thing would
Hmm.
help you with support. But I've heard
My
even
God.
people there can't even get in touch with support. So man, I'm paying for support like I'm paying the mob, and I still can't get help.
See, there you go. It's
It's
like
like
paying the
yeah,
mob. We having a little therapy session right here. I should probably leave Zuckerberg alone because once in a while I
right.
get the meta check. So I'm gonna stop with that.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Zuck. But yeah, no, I like I really honestly I only someone asked me the other day, am I on Facebook? And I said, nah, not really. But I really only use Messenger for people that I'm already connected with. I don't like connect with people who I just meet out on the streets on Facebook. I'll do
Hmm.
that on Instagram maybe, but yeah, just Messenger. And it's funny you say you don't use Messenger because WhatsApp is owned by Facebook.
See, don't get out of the logistics there and start talking, making sense. My rationale is because you make sense
If
right
it's
there.
blue, I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm not a blue. All right, my rationale and reasoning is because Telegram and WhatsApp are encrypted.
Okay.
Right, they are
Yeah.
both encrypted platforms, so I can dial those in and have some assurance, some level of assurance that the messages that I send. Look, I'm not sending out the lotto numbers. I'm not sending out anything that's necessarily confidential on those platforms, but just having the
Hmm.
wherewithal to know that those two platforms at least encrypt their messaging, that gives me some solace. But yeah, you're right. I
Yeah.
do use Instagram, and still part of the whole Meta
Oh,
family as well.
that's
So
true.
maybe I'm just a walking paradox. Huh?
Hey, we all are. If we're being real, we all
Okay.
are.
Shouts out to folks coming in. I see you. Shirley P is in the building. Let me know if you got yours. Look, Shirley P. If anyone is buying merch from the Hicks New Media Shop, Shirley is my biggest fan. And let me know, my friend, if you got that new Focus gear. I still got to send you a video. I've been traveling. I blame Reggie, who's in the comments right here, because I've been traveling with him all week. I had to do real work, and I couldn't do my work, so I didn't get a chance to film my video. Chris Stone, we see you in the building. Appreciate you for being here as well. And Tech Troublemaker Roy, what's going on? Roy, we need to get you on here. You are in this world as well. We need to get you onto the show to have a conversation with us one of these weekends. So, all
You
right.
ain't gotta pull up, Roy. I like that mad at Mark hashtag. Yeah, that's
I'm
that's
gonna
real.
turn that into a shirt before you know it. I'm gonna turn that into a. All right, so talked about that, giving some contingencies for folks if they are part of a cellular outage or something like that. Sorry for
Hmm.
y'all on AT&T. It's gonna happen to us on T-Mobile and Verizon too. But
Yeah.
have contingency plans. Turn on that Wi-Fi calling because we're always in a coffee shop. We're always somewhere where Wi-Fi hopefully is working and you can still at least communicate should issues go down. But what is nice, I do know that at least on the iPhone, I'm not sure on the Android platform. At least if it all goes to hell, you can still do the SOS, right? You can still call 911, right? So
Yeah. Same on
if
Android.
anything is toe up, you can at least still get in touch with folks.
James, did you see? This is a squirrel moment too. But did you see the movie the Obamas did, "Leave the World Behind"?
No.
Oh, okay. I definitely recommend watching that because that's the first thing I thought of. It's a show. I won't give it away, but basically, the premises or the beginning is like this family goes out on vacation somewhere. They got this house, it's in this woods, a very beautiful area.
Hold on, it's
Then all
not
of a
gonna mess
sudden,
up my
just
sleep, is it? I'm not that kind of. I don't.
if you have a bunker, you're good. But yeah, basically, all of a sudden, they just little things were just happening, going weird. Like they couldn't connect with anybody, couldn't look things up, couldn't make phone calls. Random stuff was happening, like technology was going crazy. So I think of all people, you should definitely watch this movie. We
Okay.
could even do a whole movie recap reaction thing afterwards. Very well done. I'm freaked out. Not in a horror movie, thriller,
Listen, no, see
exorcism
right
type
there,
of thing.
you
But
can't put them same kind of words, freaked out, horror,
oh,
and have me watch
it's
it.
not horror though. It's more
Yeah,
so like, oh man, I could see this happening. so,
because I'll
so yeah.
internalize everything and be like, no, no, we gonna mess
Yo,
around, get locked and
find
loaded,
you
and
a
make sure.
bunker buddy. Find you a
Okay,
bunker buddy. That's
all
all I
right,
gotta say.
maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that. Leave the world behind. I got it here. It's on Netflix. All right, I'll add it to my list. And if I end up having nightmares, I'm blaming you, and
I'll
I'm
contribute
coming
to
after you.
therapy costs.
Love it, love it. All right, there we'll do that, man. See, drama rated R. See, you can't even watch it with the kids. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll leave that alone. Walter Strong, saw you earlier this morning. Appreciate you for jumping in, man. Great session that you had. He's got a question. What do you believe is the best communication content platform with
Mm.
creators? IG, or I'm gonna call it Twitter because I always call. I'm not gonna call it X. I'm an old school man. Um, all right.
All
Let's
right.
jump the car just a little bit because we were going to talk about Twitter a little bit later on in the
Mm-hmm.
show, but that's a good segue since someone is asking about that. I'll let you go first, man. What's
Yeah.
the what of those, so of those two, Walter, or of anything else? Because if you're gonna narrow the scope down, then it's easy for me. But I'm gonna let Walt go for it.
Yeah, I got a love hate relationship with both of them. So it's very interesting. I think X, Twitter, is the best communication platform, just because they make it so easy for you to see anybody's message no matter where they are. And they've curated this their version of the Explore page where you can literally see what's going on in all different regions and hear what people are talking about. I think with Instagram, they've commercialized it too much to the point where we're not seeing people, we're seeing celebrities, and we're seeing viral stuff. So I think Instagram's more of an entertainment platform that you can use for communication. I think their broadcast feature was them looking to kind of have this place where you could own your communication. But the problem is, once everyone has a broadcast channel, it's no longer a broadcast channel, it's just another DM, and it's going to fall into that sea of other DMs. So eh, with all the changes that's happened at Twitter, it is still the place for communication to get your message heard. Doesn't mean you're going to get heard, but the features and functionality there don't limit it based on celebrity status.
Oh, that little extra piece that you threw in, that very interesting. Keep going with
Yeah.
that. Keep going with that.
Yeah.
That piece right there, because you may have opened up a little something.
Well, I mean, I'll just say one thing that I've seen, I'm sure a lot of people have seen, a lot of people are talking about on Instagram, they'll post something, but only like 2% of their followers are seeing that. Nobody says that on Twitter. Just that example right there alone, even people who with influence are upset that their posts aren't getting seen. But even down on like a everyday user standpoint, I have tons of friends from college and high school, and even people I've met along the years that I've connected with on Instagram, but I rarely see their stuff. I might see it in the stories, which, by the way, if y'all are trying to grow on Instagram, definitely leverage stories. But when it comes to the feed, the place where we go first, it's just things that are going to get you to stay on the platform, things that are sticky, things that are viral content to keep you entertained and continue
Yeah,
to consume. Go to
yeah.
explore page, same exact theme. Everything to kind of catch your eye, not stuff to really help you communicate with other people.
Wow, that's a word right there in and of itself, and I agree with you for the majority pieces of that because you make a lot of sense right there. Like what Reggie was saying too, but for both, you need to kind of search yourself. You end up in an echo chamber, and I did see that Walter Strong created a Twitter account, so I started following him. So shouts out to him on
Oh,
that.
nice.
Um, I've got a pretty extensive community that I built on Twitter because for a
Mm,
while I had Perspectives and Focus, and I had another session called the Digital Collective where we were bringing in topics outside of my real niche. Right. So I was trying to boil the ocean for a while. So I was doing Twitter chats for a while. So following the hashtags and gaining a nice following on that. But then I started following into an area that the community wanted me to go to. And that was talking about financial companies, OTC
mm,
markets, pink sheets and things like that. And companies that were early stage in whatever, finance, science, technology, whatever. I go along that route because I'm saying I went that direction. The community grew for me incredibly on Twitter, and but it wasn't where I wanted to go. So there was a lot of noise. There was a
mm.
lot of chatter about things that in my feed that weren't in relation to what I wanted to do. They weren't aligned with the technologist forum. They weren't aligned with Team No Sleep, right? The types of conversations that I really wanted to make sure that the community had that were above noise level, right? That actually made sense. So when I changed and dropped doing those conversations, I did see my new subscribers kind of plateau and kind of get to a point where it was more in line with the conversations I wanted to have. But that was okay, right? So
Yeah.
I still love Twitter. We're streaming live on Twitter right now. So, and we have the technology now. If you are on Twitter and you're watching this, you can actually put a comment in and it'll come in. So we've got all that integrated. So,
Hey.
hey, listen, I had to throw that little plug in there. We out here in these streets. I think I'm on LinkedIn too. So be careful
Okay.
what you say because LinkedIn is watching.
Hey, shout
You
out
know
to
they watching you,
LinkedIn.
boy. Okay. Um, but
They
I
watch.
love Twitter. Again, I think it's really that water cooler conversation where you can kind of
Mhm.
curate your conversation, follow topics, follow hashtags, follow discussions and things like that. I seem to always have problems with some of these CEOs. Me and Elon Musk, I'll drive his cars, right? I got his cars and I got his stock, but Elon
Mhm.
sometimes just needs to go sit down
Yo,
and
you
let.
got the mad at Mark, mad at
I'm
Musk, you to the
I'm
mad at
I'm just
M.
I'm just Morgan Freeman. I'm the grumpy old man, right? You see all the salt in the beard. I'm a grumpy, but Elon need to just go sit down, let the platform do what it's organically meant to do. Again, be that water cooler conversation, that location to disseminate and curate news and information. So I love it for that. I love it for the fact that we can live stream to it as well. I see Instagram more as that visual context as opposed to that audio and textual context as
Yeah.
Twitter is. So on IG, I'm doing more reels and posts than stories
Mhm.
for the reason that again there's monetization in reels instead of stories. But I understand what you're saying because it does make sense if you want to grow your community, if you want to grow your reach. Everyone has that 30, 60, 90-second attention span, so stories make sense,
Mhm.
right? Post something
Yeah.
out there, boom, that's good, it's gone in what 24 hours or something of that nature. But I'm in this again for the direct deposits, so you get
I
paid
feel
off
you.
real. So maybe I should add some more stories
Well,
into the.
I agree with you though. I think so. I'll say you should leverage stories, but reels are the most popular form of content. I think it's going to push you, help you to reach new followers as well.
Yeah.
With stories, though, I think stories are slept on, but they're stories is like the only way right now where you can actually post a link and people can click it and go to
Mm,
exactly where you want them to go
yes,
outside the DMs.
that's a good point.
Also, with stories, your followers will actually see your stories. And if they engage with you enough in your stories, you'll start to be one of the first things they see when they open Instagram. Right now, you open Instagram, your feed pops up, and then above that is like the first three, four, five, whatever stories, just right there above the feed. And I click on them. When I click, I'll sometimes go to the next, or I just swipe through a little bit to see who else is there. So just always having something there and people getting people to engage with your stories, like posting two, three, four, and then maybe adding in the reel, like share your reel to the story as well, right? In between it or slide here and there with that. That just helps to kind of create that dynamic thing. I did this test with polls in stories for a project I was doing at work. and that actually I was able to see who was actually engaging with the polls, and then also if they engage with the reel as well. So in a way, me kind of leveraging a reel story combo helped to deliver the content to people who are following
Mm,
me and get
gotcha.
some engagement too. So yeah,
Okay.
it's like a whole play. And also I should also preface and say I love Twitter X as a user, consumer, civilian. When it comes to branding and stuff, figuring that out. That's just like a whole wild, wild west there. So Instagram, out of all the Meta products, Instagram and Threads are the ones that I'm looking at the most.
The Reds. Okay. I want tie in what you said there right there because I want to make sure again folks don't gloss over that. So folks, you're not being shadow banned.
Mm,
You just need to leverage these platforms effectively if you want to reach a bigger audience. You think you're being
yeah.
shadow banned, you think you're being pushed to the bottom of the curve. It's the algorithm, right? You put out interesting content, like Walt was saying, you'll be at the top of somebody's feed. And
True.
that's one thing, right? And again, I think folks need to be aware of that. It's not always folks out there trying to get you. You're not always on the extreme side. So if you're putting out interesting content, and again, interesting can be in subjective, objective, right? Depends on what it is. But if you're out there engaging with these platforms, the algorithm will see that, and then it'll push you up to the top. But if you're just out there putting out madness, well, yeah, nobody wants to see. Okay, nobody wants to see that craziness. And I
Nope.
also I just thought about this. I got to be careful. I'm talking about all these extra checks coming in. I got my manager on here. I'm not going to get no kind of performance increase or evaluation. So Reggie,
It's just to
put
pay
me
for
on mute.
Netflix.
Yeah. Reggie, put me on mute right now. Man. I am, man. I'm talking about all these little. I just thought about that as I said that, man. I better be careful, man. I'm
Yeah,
nervous now. You know what I'm
Reggie
saying?
saying, "Hey, I'm off the clock too."
Yeah, I'm normally not nervous. Reggie got me all nervous. I'm over here talking about I can't stand Mark Zuckerberg. Elon Musk need to go. Okay, I better not talk about nobody else.
Reggie's gonna be like, "Hey, we have a meeting with
Yeah,
Zuckerberg
we do.
actually
We
on
got a meeting
Tuesday."
tomorrow morning
Oh
or Monday
man.
morning. We got a meeting Monday morning. Okay. It's all good. So let me ask you this. So Twitter here again. I love Twitter so much, and then I saw this functionality right here that they are rolling out, allowing folks to actually do audio and video calls. Now, I love the technology. I love the concept. Right. I
Mm,
love the fact that integrating resources and integrating capabilities on the platform that I frequent and that I use a lot. But I got 10,000 folks that follow me on Twitter, and I probably know four of them. I can't have somebody trying to video call me at midnight because they have a question about what Walter and I talked about on the Technologist Forum
mm,
on
mm,
February 24th. I know, and so you have to be cognizant, folks. You got to go in there and opt in, opt out of some of the capabilities of who can reach to you, who can actually
mm.
text you directly, and things like that. But talk to me your thoughts about even just having this capability now with Twitter, where folks can actually reach you, and you can reach them via audio and video calls.
Yeah, I think of three things actually. One is concerned about bots and spammy accounts being able to make calls because that's a big problem. When Elon Musk took over, one of the things he mentioned was like, "Oh, I want to like basically crush these bots and people just creating fake profiles and all this stuff." I haven't seen that change personally. I'm still getting all sorts of like
Yes.
engagement from people who are not real. So I don't know what he's talking about. And then the other thing is, once again, like you said, the technology. Like, okay, cool. That's what we were just talking about. How like, oh yeah, use Instagram. Oh, this, Telegram. What's all this stuff to make calls? So okay, making the technology more accessible. The third thing I think about is when Elon was taking over, he was talking about WeChat. Now, I got to go to China in 2015,
Okay.
and when I was there, I told everyone back home like, oh, I'm gonna post everything on Facebook, but Facebook's banned there. You basically have to have a VPN. I didn't know enough about VPNs back then to set that up beforehand.
We
But
can
what
talk
they did
offline if you
have,
want to.
oh yeah. Now I got one, but so yeah. But I am curious to hear what you got because you the tech guy. But one thing they did have, and I'm glad a friend of me told me about it before I left, was this app called WeChat. Now, WeChat is the super platform. I haven't used it since I was in China, but essentially it reminded me of WhatsApp, but then it had a whole other just social platform to it. I used it to translate when I was there. People used it to send payments. This is back in like 2015. People used it to send payments, to shop,
Mm.
all these different things that I know that Elon is looking at that one. So is Mark Zuckerberg. And I think this is just another step forward to making X like the everything app. And I think that's probably why he changed it to X. I mean, I don't know the actual like logical reason, but X as in everything that exists where we just hear. So I think that's where Elon's pushing through, and this is just another step to get there. The one communication app for everything in life that you need.
X being everything that you one app for everything in life. Wow.
Yeah.
That's what that he has spoken that he has spoken that he wants right from e-commerce perspective, right, being able to
Hmm.
transact financial situations, communication here in text, communication now in audio and video. Wow, what's going to happen? I What's going to happen is someone is going to come in from an oversight perspective. I am not a fan of a whole lot of oversight. I'm not a fan of a whole lot of regulation, but
Hmm.
I'm a fan of enough regulation. And I do worry about this. Listen, we live generative AI. We live this whole world and
Hmm.
ecosystem as well, right? Again, I'm not a fan of Big Brother always coming in and touching things that we're doing, right? Let me be me, and let me be cognizant of the impact that I'm having on society and community. But there,
Absolutely.
it just happens so fast, right? That this whole generative AI to the consumer perspective happened so fast. We in technology knew about this. We've been using artificial intelligence. We've been using machine
Hmm.
learning and things of that nature for years and for decades. But now that it's on these TVs, now it's on CNBC, and now it's on CNN, civilians, regular folks are seeing it, and they're concerned about it. Rightfully so to an extent. I just wonder, because there's been so many interesting steps that someone Elon Musk has done with either
Hmm.
Tesla, with either Twitter, or with either SpaceX, with all of his organizations, that if he comes in and tries to take over that all-encompassing aspect of a communications and a technology platform, that somebody's going to step in and be like, pump the brake. Again, I'm not conspiracy theorist or anything of that nature, but again, Elon just being Elon, and then just his impact. Right, he is a very impactful person. He can either be speaking it or he can be writing it, whatever the case may be. He can go on Joe Rogan and smoke some weed with him, right, and do that. But if Elon puts his mind to motion, 8 times out of 10, we've seen it actually come to fruition, and that could just be an
Yeah.
interesting time for technologists and for consumers who are consuming technology to be should be aware of. Um,
Man, I absolutely agree with you. I don't even think it's like conspiracy
yeah,
theorists, because like part of like the governments, when it comes to like these corporations and companies, part of what they're supposed to do
come on,
is regulations and
come on,
stuff, and they're supposed to protect the consumer. Like we saw with the trials when Zuckerberg was like a few years ago. Went through his hearings and everything, asking all these different questions and stuff. And regardless of whether or not their questions made sense, they were kind of just going through everything that is Facebook to figure it out and figure out what they're doing and what they like, what they don't like, what they could do, what they can't do. And it definitely changed some things. But since then, we've seen Facebook continue to build this ecosystem to rule
yeah,
them all type of thing. So no, I think that's definitely going to happen. It's going to be interesting what that looks like, because I don't think it's going to like stop him at all. Like, I don't think they ever really necessarily try to stop, but maybe add some type of, I don't even say ethical, because I don't even know if the government's looking for that. I feel like it's really like a privacy and money thing, and just making sure there's nobody from another country kind of peering in as well. So
yeah.
I'm very curious to see what kind of comes from this as well.
I agree. I mean, again, I bring up the question only to bring up the question for the debate, right? Again, I don't care
Mhm.
what side of a political stance that you are. I don't care anything else about how you believe, but it's a conversation that needs to happen. And right, and I'm all about having those uncomfortable conversations at times. It's just to be aware, right? Let's not be afraid of the technology. Let's
Mhm.
leverage it as as most effectively as we can in a positive manner. But again, you got someone like an Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or Richard Branson, right? Those insane geniuses, as I called them. Steve Jobs was one of them. Worked for him for 10 years. I got his quote right here in front of me that I look at every single day about put a dent in the universe, right? We need those folks out here on this planet.
You
And
didn't mention Zuckerberg.
I see, I didn't. And I may have been conscious or may have been unconscious. Poor Mark. I should probably send him a message and be like, hey, bro, I'm sorry. I don't know where I was at. You just threw me off kilter, brother.
We need these geniuses. Yeah.
I'm a weak man. See, I was saying something profound too. Oh my gosh. Okay, I just say, don't be afraid of technology. Leverage the technology. But I guess it's that there's going to need to be someone somewhere, maybe a third party external entity, to say, let's put some framework in here. Let's put some parameters in terms of how this gets leveraged and how this gets utilized. One case in particular, and we're going to talk about this here right now, what happened with Alphabet / Google / Gemini.
Mm-hmm.
Now, generative AI, use it every single day. Heck, some of the blog posts that I write are started out with Perplexity AI, and I write with that, and then I fill it my little flair. But Google's out here with their image generating AI and has overcorrected, right? Overcorrected and trying to be politically correct and trying to be culturally responsive and trying to be accurate. This ain't the founding fathers right here. But someone put in the prompt into Gemini saying, give me a portrait of the founding fathers. Listen, okay, we appreciate the effort. Kudos on the tribe, but this right here is embarrassing. I'm pointing the wrong way, but this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing to us as a people, Homo sapiens, everyone. This is also very embarrassing to Google and the Gemini team. Now, this first time you've seen this, your thoughts on this particular incident that happened with Gemini, Google's Gemini, their generative AI image producing platform. Someone put in the prompt, draw me the founding fathers of the United States of America, and this is what came out.
It's funny when we think about representation, because like people all the time, they kind of reimagine this or imagine that. But what this did is almost as bad as what like in Florida, what they're doing with like just trying to rewrite or leave out things in history, not allowing teachers to say like slavery in the curriculum, stuff like that. And the reason is because like if you kind of change or try to ignore what happened before, you don't really learn from that. So if this is the image that someone's just going through, let's say some younger person is using it to look up, oh, who are the founding fathers? And not seeing that, for white men, it's like that just changes their understanding of history. And then if you don't really understand what happened before, it's like, what's that quote say? You don't learn from the past, you'll repeat it. It's like that type of stuff there, not really understanding the what it meant for the founding fathers of America to be white men. So this right here is, a cool art project, maybe something cool creatively. If someone put in the prompt, show me the founding fathers, but don't make them white, then that'd be cool. But that's not even accurate. It's like at that point, it's not artificial intelligence. It's just artificial.
It's just Boy, are we on the same page? And that's scary. That's unfortunate. That's embarrassing. It's again, someone who doesn't know, someone born, well, you much younger than I am. You don't have all this salt in your beer too, right? I mean, someone who didn't grow
I got
up
one right there.
didn't grow up in the world of Encyclopedia Britannica. You didn't have the whole volumes in your living room. You got the internet. You don't know the days before cellular phones and things like that. But if you're doing a research project and you go out there and you Google, you throw into Gemini, show me the founding fathers of the United States. And that's kind of what this other article is saying right here. And you get a result that looks like that. and you turn that in, your 40, 50, 60-year-old teacher is going to be like, bruh, come on. This has to get fixed, obviously, and they know it. They're working on under correcting the overcorrection and getting this into place. But again, I guess your thoughts on where we're going with generative AI and now,
Mm,
right, text to
yeah.
video, speech to video, auto image creation. Right, you can put a prompt into ChatGPT, into what's that new one, Somi from
Oh,
OpenAI. Let's talk a
oh
little
my
bit about
God.
OpenAI, right? You had some challenges with OpenAI, right? Just again,
Yeah.
false positives, false negatives, and just what we're getting from these platforms that we were really now starting to rely on a day-to-day basis.
Hmm. I've come on here and have said that I'm trying to replace myself with AI, and it's not literal of that. Like I definitely don't want to remove myself, but I want to find these tools that help me to just operate at a higher level, be more efficient, and bring other humans onto the team to use AI to get things done. But at the same time, there's a lot of hiccups, a lot of things go wrong, and I'm also nervous about just what it means for people to have this type of tool where they no longer need other people as well. So it's kind of conflicted. Um, when I saw that video, the text to video thing that OpenAI kind of premiered, I was like, "Oh my god, that's crazy. That looks way too real. That looks like a super high quality videographer and editor created this, and super like actors, all that stuff." But at the same time, that same company has the same tool, ChatGPT, has halted me in my process as well. In
Oh,
fact, with the whole Israel Palestine war, conflict, genocide, whatever you want to call it, I was using ChatGPT to help me just reformat text. And it was for this basically a news report. It wasn't opinion based, it wasn't anything. We literally had like a list of different things to state, like different headlines that were happening over there right now. And when I put it in to help me reformat, as I've done so many times with all sorts of content. Some like just degrading content, some positive content. That's the world we're in. But it said I cannot help with providing information relating to terrorist organizations. That was the answer it gave me every single time. I tried reformatting, tried this, and it got to a point where I was like, man, at some point they're gonna hit the FBI up and be like, yo, this person's
yeah.
using us to become a terrorist. But that's not the case at all. It's like, wow. So it has all these parameters up too. Once again, be politically correct, be safe, and all that stuff, but it ends up causing harm, damage, or prevent someone from moving forward. So in my case, it's more so that okay, I can no longer use this tool. I have to just do it manually. Basically, it's funny, right? Doing it yourself is like looked at as manually now, but yeah, so when I see things like this, the video thing, I'm fascinated by the technology and the capabilities, but also wonder, okay, what's coming next? Another thing that's interesting with the Gemini um, example, the founding fathers, is that Google has been known to not really showcase representation that's based off of user input as well. For years, if you put in like what does professionalism look like, you wouldn't see an image of a black person regardless of if they fit like the model of professionalism or not. It would all be white men that showed up in the
Let's see.
image results.
Let's see.
Yeah. So
We're gonna call them on the spot right here. All right.
let's do it.
That was the
Let's
actual
do
prompt
it.
that I just typed in. As you can see, what does professionalism look like? Okay.
Yeah. So it's interesting here. So it's like I feel like we're going to continue to see more of these problems, and I think the part that it's not the AI that makes me nervous; it's the people who are in these positions of power. Like we just came out of the writer strike, the actor strike, where they were talking about AI usage and people's likeness and stuff. And I just
Mm,
that's the part that concerns me, like the ethical, moral part of the people using it and taking advantage of the software.
interesting point. On the OpenAI side, are you using free or are you
Yeah, I
on
was using
the?
free.
Okay, so I wonder if you actually were using 4.0 right instead of 3.5, if
Hmm.
that large language model. I just curious to
Maybe.
see what that would look like. Right. Hmm.
Maybe if you ever want to test it out, I could give you
Maybe
the
we'll do that. But
another
I'm not
copy.
gonna put up a whole bunch of rogue stuff on the show here right now. We not trying to listen. We back to that monetization conversation. I don't want no
Indeed.
YouTube strikes. Uh,
Right.
Steve Chu, hold man, I got all kind of folks from my day job coming through from Tech Systems. What it do, man? Steve Chu coming in from San Diego. Hope you are dry because I know San Diego's got a lot of issues down there with water. Appreciate you for jumping in, man.
Mhm.
Appreciate you for sure. But that's an interesting perspective, though, right? You got so everyone you saw the images from Gemini. You hear Walt's situation with using OpenAI and Sora and the limiting factors, and you're not even be able to get the results that you're looking for, right? You being
Mhm.
we already used the word shadow ban, but you just being limited in terms of the output that you can get. And there are multiple alternatives, obviously, out there for other large language models that you can use. I keep talking about Perplexity AI. I've been using them forever, and there's Voila. So there's a couple of other places that you can go. I'd be curious also as well, just from my mind, to know what the response that you get from some of these other platforms. Yeah,
Mm.
ChatGPT is the Kleenex of tissue, and everyone goes there because that's the first one that they think about. But these other models, back to Twitter, right? Elon's got Grok running, and Grok is supposedly pretty carte blanche, right? You put something in, they'll go out there and find it. So I'd be curious to see, if you put something in Grok, if you put something in Perplexity, put something in Voila, if you got the same
Mhm.
limiting results out of those tools. So
That's a good question. I know I've tested things with OpenAI, Gemini, and this other software I use, Supercopy, and it's interesting the differences of them all, and it kind of helps me to understand which tool I would do what with. Because I
mm,
think there's tons of things ChatGPT does really well. One thing I do love about Gemini, which so I think this is something for everyone to keep in mind, right? If you're using these artificial intelligence tools, especially for research or additional context, is ask them to provide the sources. That is
yes,
something that Gemini does really well because it's Google, and I've used that to basically vet that while like the information is presenting is correct. That's the part I'm concerned about, but making sure the context is correct and see if I can learn a little bit more. So yeah, I'm very curious about what's it called? Gronk?
Grok, Grok,
Grok?
yeah.
Man, Elon with these names, man.
Yeah, man, you said it. He out here trying to take over the planet, bringing
Yeah,
in little bits of technology, bringing modules into the overall platforms. We'll see
mhm.
how that works out.
We'll
Uh,
see.
Interesting statement here from Mr. Cox. There, appreciate you for being here, sir, as well. He says, "My problem with the generative video is when the lines get blurred with someone impersonating someone else and making statements that the likeness would never say." We about to have an election cycle.
Mm.
There's already a handful out there right now. We about to get all kind of deep fakes, and not even deep fakes, just fakes. There's about to be. We had it during the last election cycle, but now these tools and these platforms and these models are much more robust. It's going to be insane now. So yeah, being cognizant, being aware. If it smells funny, it might be funny. So we'll do our part, I guess, here on the Technologist Forum to kind of make sure that folks are aware of, again, some of these particular things, because yeah, that's going to be a challenge for sure. He's liking
Mhm.
Gemini, more outline field than responses versus ChatGPT. Yeah, yeah. They had this blaring issue that they were embarrassed by, so I can just imagine that they working this weekend. they
All
they
right.
are they are recoding their C plus plus, and they are getting this back into alignment for sure. So that doesn't happen again. But that's an interesting perspective. We'll keep up on that for sure. Um, bruh, we did it, man.
We did it.
We hit them with all kind of stuff today. Good lord, you
All right.
got me nervous, and I got some folks watching that I know I'm gonna have some questions Monday morning. Okay,
Hey, it
yeah,
looks like you got some allies, but we'll see.
We'll,
It
we'll, we'll
wasn't
we'll see.
common.
We'll see. We appreciate folks for jumping in and joining. I tell you what, Walt, you take us home, man. Talk a little bit again about the items and the events that you got coming up, and
Mhm.
because I really think that that's some really good stuff. So tell the folks what you're doing, man.
Oh yeah, so I'm digging deep, deep, deep into this world of software. There's a lot of tools that I use, and I just want to like to share the resources. So This coming Tuesday, I'm testing out this whole process of sharing and building community with other people who are interested or already using these tools. So the first one is Notion. I'm doing this kind of happy hour virtual meetup on this other tool that I really like called Remo. But it's like, Zoom, it's great. Everyone has it, but this one feels a lot more interactive. And if there's a bunch of people, it's like already built for breakout rooms. So I'm setting out this virtual environment just for everyone to pull up. There's no hierarchical, like this is a Notion expert, so no one else gets to speak. We're really just learning how each of us are using these tools, what we've learned, and hopefully it's this way we could all grow together. So this Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. First one I'm doing, so it's an experiment. There's going to be more, but I'm going to see how it goes and what it may become. So that's one thing I want to push because I'm all about community and growing with other people. So this is an event to do that.
All about community, all about growing with people. That's why you here, man. You a good man. You even me out because again I'm the disgruntled. I'm the old Morgan Freeman get off my lawn kind of guy, man. I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you. Hey, I learned from James, man. I learned from James. All the tools he's using. I'm like, oh, what's that? Oh, that's kind
That's
of nice.
it.
Let me
That's
get into
it.
it.
Listen, every Saturday as doable. When I'm not traveling or whenever the case may be, every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time, we are here on the Technologist Forum. Put your questions, put your inquiries, anything you want us to talk about, even if you want to come online. Right? Listen, we open. We can bring as many people on the screen as possible, and it's necessary to have these conversations. Join us next week. Make sure you subscribe. Tell someone. And with that, y'all be good to yourselves.